From 1969 to 1989, SIG AMT was exported into the North America only in around 3,000 pieces. Now you think this is rare, listen to that. From those 3,000 pieces, only 100 was made with Dr. Vochler scope. This is a 4X Dr. Vochler German scope, and from those 150 went to Chilean Army to perform on sniper duty. Yes, at that time this was kinda sniper setup. So why not that many SIG AMTs made it to the North America? The answer to this is very simple. To give you the idea, in 1978 for the SIG AMT you had to pay roughly $1,700. If you will convert this to the today's money per Google, that's way over $8,000. So you can see right away why those beautiful rifles never really gained a strong footprint inside the United States. Now on the top of it, because how rare those Dr. Vochler scopes are, and some estimate that the scope today costs almost as much as the rifle, you can understand how hard it is to have these rifles and to really enjoy them, because even when you got that rifle, it is really hard to shoot it if you will think about the price tag. So for the 80s, this is a really nice setup, and you can say that the 80s was basically end of the era for rifles, right? We still have the wood, and this is a French walnut wood married to the steel on the rifle. So this is a little bit old school, and there's no surprise because the SIG AMT, it's basically an export version of a Sturmgewehr 57 out of the Switzerland. For the export side, SIG choose for the AMT quite a few calibers. There was of course a 7.62 by 51 like that one, or 308, but they always have also the 7.62 by 39 version. So go figure that. And there were some other calibers as well. If I'm correct, even 3006 was made as an experimental version for the Mexico, if I'm correct. If not, please correct me in the comments. But as far as the rifle itself was basically sold with the iron sights, which this is the rear kind of peep sight, and you're adjusting the grades by moving forward the slider or away from the shooter, and it's graded in meters. So the top mark here is marked for 600 meters. You have one more notch to go with it, and that's how it works. Then on the front you just got a standard front post. As far as the scope, the Dr. Vochler is no stranger to optics. The company is making the optics binos scopes, was producing them during the World War II for the Germans, of course. It's a German company. The problem with Dr. Vochler is they are absolutely unobtainable right now in the US, and even in Europe, extremely hard to find. That's why the collectors have such a hard time to find those scopes. Now, scope itself, as you can see on the top of the scope, we do have basically a BDC on the elevation turret, and all those marks are in meters. On the side of the scope, what they did, they put the mill's adjustments, and it's a mill scale. Scope itself is extremely simple. It's a 4-power scope with the traditional tri-post, so nothing groundbreaking here. But at that time, please remember that this was very popular setup for the sniper rifles, so I cannot blame the Chilean Army to roll with the setup like this. To remove the scope, all you have to do is move the lever, and you're going to detach the scope from the rifle, and then it just becomes the standard infantry rifle. They do have detachable magazines, and this is very familiar system with the AK latching, right? You have basically a lock up front here, and you're sliding in magazine to the magazine well, and boom, the magazine locks into the magazine well. To remove the magazine, you have to push that tab. I removed the magazine to show you. Push that tab, and that releases the magazine from the rifle. On the right side, there is a very interesting feature. This is extension to the trigger basically, and this is to operate the trigger with your winter gloves, because the rifle, of course, SIG, originally we're talking about design, it was for Swiss Army, so it is kind of cold in Switzerland, right? So they thought about this. A lot of people is using that trigger though also when they taking a precision shots, because it is a little bit, it gives you a little bit more leverage versus the traditional trigger on AMT. So this is kind of novelty, very interesting. They did preserve on this rifle the beer keg charging handle, and as you can see, that is still included on the SIG AMT, just like it was on the Sturmgewehr 57. So the beer keg is on it, and actually it looks very, very funny. The rifles were also equipped with the bipod, which is nothing to write home about it. You are extending the legs and folding them out, and this basically brings the bipod to life, and you can use the front support and shoot from it if you want to. They work well, kind of well in the grass or you know, more like a soft ground, but of course on the rocks and on harder obstacles you're not going to have a lot from it, but it is included. On this SIG AMT we also have the bayonet lug, so some of the civilian exports did not have that. So as you can see, that whole front here, this is going back to the Sturmgewehr 57. As I said, for the Chilean Army, there were more things done to those rifles a little bit to keep them in the mill spec. But basically, as far as the rifle goes, that's it. It is almost from inside the Sturmgewehr 57 with the nice accents for the exports, and of course the 7.62 by 51 or 308 caliber, because this is much more popular caliber versus 7.5 Swiss. SIG AMT is a wonderful rifle, and I'm extremely happy that we could talk to you about it from the back of the 80s Toyota Land Cruiser. What next rifle you would like to see, talk about it, please let us know in the comments. We're going to bring it to the trunk and see what we can dig out for you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know underneath of the video. As always, thanks for being with us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button and share that video. Thank you guys. See you next time.